and welcome to CHCI Press, your source for measurable, real-world strategies that help organizations attract and retain high-performing people, build an inclusive workplace, and maximize team performance. Today's topic is mastering problem-solving with root cause analysis. In this webinar, we will provide you with a solid foundation in root cause analysis, which is problem-solving through identifying and defining problems and their symptoms. By the time we're finished, you should know how to identify problems, determine what framework is needed to solve them, and apply it to find a solution. So that you'll know what to expect, let's go through the topics we're covering today. First, we'll learn how to identify a problem. Then, we'll examine different problem-solving skills. To close, we'll follow the process of root cause analysis and look at a case study. Reflection activity. We're going to begin with a brief reflection activity. Identify a situation in which you wish you'd been able to apply problem-solving skills. Perhaps you found a solution, but it didn't actually solve the problem. Or maybe you were never able to figure out what caused the problem. Write a few thoughts about what happened. You'll need them later. Pause the video and resume when you're ready. Problem identification. Now that you've been able to reflect on a hurdle that you faced, let's move on to our lesson. Our goal is that, by the end of this webinar, you can take what you learned here to see how you might have handled your situation better. Hindsight is always 20/20, but we can use our past obstacles to study and apply the skills that we've learned in order to improve our problem-solving moving forward. First off, what is a problem? How do you spot a problem? Are there different kinds of problems? In this section, we're going to study two types of problems, Type 1 and Type 2. Coming up next, I'll show you a few photos, and you'll need to spot the issue in each picture. I'll let you know when to pause the video so that you can write down what you think the issue is, and then you can resume the video after. Example 1. What do you think the problem is in this picture? We see a car with only one of the two front headlights lit up. Resume the video when you're ready. Without knowing why the headlight is out, we know we need to fix it so the car is illuminated properly and the driver doesn't get a ticket. Some quick troubleshooting will tell us if the bulb is just burned out or if there's a faulty wire, and we can replace or repair that item. Example 2. How about in this picture? What's the problem? Here we see a faucet with water dripping. Resume the video when you're ready. Again, without even knowing why the faucet is leaking, we know we need to fix it to prevent water waste. With some quick troubleshooting once more, we can figure out why the faucet is leaking, like a worn-out washer or a faulty valve, and what we can do to fix it and prevent future leaks. Some problems are easy to identify. The examples we just went over represent easy-to-solve problems. Through some basic troubleshooting, we can identify the problem and move forward with the solution. These are Type 1 problems. They're easy to spot, and you can often solve them on your own or on the go. Type 2 problems. On this slide, you'll see a more complex problem. This is a picture of a classroom with students who are not engaged in learning. At first glance, the problem appears to be the students' lack of engagement. However, this issue is just a piece out of a larger puzzle. The underlying problem involves multiple factors, including outdated teaching methods, lack of resources, large class size, and external issues affecting students' lives. These factors all contribute to the larger problem of poor educational outcomes. Now, what leads to poor educational outcomes? Insufficient training for teachers, lack of funding for schools, socioeconomic challenges faced by students, and one-size-fits-all curricula all play a role. The effects of poor educational outcomes are wide-ranging, including lower graduation rates, limited future opportunities for students, and broader socioeconomic impacts. This is a much bigger problem than what the image shows. To address poor educational outcomes, we need to consider multiple aspects such as investing in teacher training, providing adequate resources, reducing class size, and offering support for students' external challenges. These are Type 2 problems. They require dedicating time to sit down and really think about solutions. Complex problems usually need to be solved by a team, not an individual. Many of the issues aren't immediately obvious, which requires going beyond the surface of the problem. Before we can plan how to solve a problem, we need to know what type of problem it is. You would approach a Type 1 problem differently than a Type 2 problem. A Type 1 problem, to be honest, probably won't need much of a process to solve it. Type 2 problems, however, need to be clearly defined. Albert Einstein once said that if he was given an hour to save the world, he would spend 55 minutes defining the problem and only 5 minutes thinking of a solution. Hyperbole aside, he's explaining the importance of defining a problem in its entirety before beginning to find solutions. There are 2 components to defining a problem. 1. The problem should be described in a way that is measurable, observable, clear, and specific. 2. There should be clear statements about the disconnect between what you want to happen and what is actually happening. Let's look at an example. An employee is falling asleep at work. Obviously, that is not ideal and the employee should be awake. In other words, the disconnect. Initially, the problem may be defined as the employee is tired. When looking more into the situation, it's apparent that the employee is staying up late completing work and not going to bed on time. Based on that, we can see that the actual problem needing to be addressed isn't how to make the employee stay awake, but how to improve their time management. Problem identification practice. Let's practice problem identification a little more. On the slide is a picture of a cluttered office desk with piles of papers and files. I want you to write down what you think the problem is and whether it's a type 1 or a type 2 problem. Pause the video and resume when you're ready. This is a type 2 problem. The cluttered desk is a symptom of a larger issue, such as poor organizational skills or inadequate time management. To solve this, you might need to implement a better filing system, declutter regularly, or improve your overall time management strategies. Here is a picture of a flat tire. I want you to write what you think the problem is and whether it's a type 1 or a type 2 problem. Pause the video and resume when you're ready. This is a type 1 problem. It's simple. The tire is flat and unable to be driven on. There aren't many reasons why this would happen. Generally, it either just needs air or there's a hole in it that needs to be repaired. It's a simple fix. If the tire holds air once it's inflated, then the issue is solved. If it's leaking air after, there is likely a hole that needs to be patched. Problem-solving skills. Now that we know how to identify a problem, let's figure out how to work on problem-solving. What skills are needed to solve problems? How do we strengthen them to improve our ability to solve problems? For instance, problem-solving many times requires research. Before we can solve a problem, we need to research the causes of the problem. Research skills aren't necessarily a natural talent. You can learn them to improve your problem-solving abilities. I want you to make a list of skills that you think aid in problem-solving. Pause the video and resume when you're ready. Let's discuss some other problem-solving abilities that can be learned. In addition to research skills, you can focus on your attention to detail, practice active listening, develop your analytical skills, and improve your communication skills. This is particularly beneficial if you're working with a team to solve a problem. Were any of those on your list? Don't worry if they weren't. This isn't meant to be an inclusive list. There are many other skills that feed into problem solving. Let us know in the comments what skills we missed. Root cause analysis. One of the most reliable methods for problem solving is through root cause analysis. You may have heard of it before, but we're going to go step by step through the process so that you can know how to apply it to other situations. Root cause analysis is, as the name suggests, finding the root causes of problems to inform what solution or solutions will completely solve the problem. The important thing to remember is that root cause analysis may not solve an entire problem the first time around. It can sometimes be repetitive. After finding and fixing one root cause, you may discover another one that needs to be addressed. This is why it's important to follow the steps of root cause analysis each time you go through the process. Steps for effective root cause analysis. Step 1. Investigate and identify the problem. This is where you'll spend most of your time. Start by understanding what's happening. Break the problem into smaller parts and figure out why each is occurring. Keep asking why until you uncover the root cause. This is often called the 5 whys, but you might need more or fewer questions depending on how complex the issue is. Also, be sure to gather data to support your investigation. We'll go through an example later to clarify. Step 2. Organize and map the problem. Sort all the information you've gathered into categories. If you can, create a timeline that shows how everything fits together, listing events leading up to the issue or failure. Step 3. Analyze. Now that you have all your data, it's time to dig in and find the real cause. Look for patterns, timing issues, interruptions, and contributing factors. For instance, barrier analysis helps identify physical or organizational obstacles affecting the issue. Another approach is change analysis, where you compare what's different now to before to pinpoint key changes impacting the situation. Step 4. Choose solutions. Once you've identified the root cause of your problem, it's easier to decide on the best fix. Consider your options carefully and choose the solution most suitable. Keep in mind, problem solving isn't always straightforward. Gauge different solutions and settle on the one you believe will work best. Focus on implementing one solution at a time to address the issue effectively. Step 5. Implement and evaluate solutions. Use existing metrics to see if the fix you implemented has solved the problem. Check if things have improved. If not, try another solution. It's crucial to change one thing at a time to pinpoint what works best. Changing multiple factors at once makes it hard to identify the exact solution. When you're attempting to solve a problem, always start by defining it. Remember Einstein's quote about defining the problem in 55 minutes and coming up with the solution in the remaining 5. This is where you should spend the most time. Case study. Let's run through a quick case study using root cause analysis. The issue. A city is experiencing frequent power outages. Step 1. Define the problem. The city is facing power outages more frequently than normal. Step 2. Collect data and evidence. The city collects data on outages, surveys residents and businesses, reviews maintenance records, and examines weather patterns. Step 3. Identify and analyze possible causes. The data reveals that the power outages are primarily due to aging infrastructure, increased demand on the power grid, and severe weather conditions. Step 4. Identify the root cause. Further analysis shows that aging infrastructure is the primary root cause, as it's become prone to equipment failures and is less resilient to increases in demand and significant weather events. Step 5. Plan and implement solutions. The city decides to invest in upgrading the power grid infrastructure, enhancing maintenance protocols, and implementing demand management strategies to ensure a more stable power supply. Conclusion. You have now learned the steps of root cause analysis. We looked at how to spot a problem and identify it as Type 1 or Type 2. We reviewed various problem-solving skills and how to develop them, and we broke down the 5 steps of root cause analysis. Now take the time over the next few days and ask yourself the following questions. Where can I apply this? Am I dealing with a specific problem that could be solved with root cause analysis? If so, where will I begin? Take a look at that problem you wrote down at the beginning and apply your analysis to see if you come up with a different solution. Thank you for watching this webinar. We hope you found this information helpful and insightful. For any questions, feel free to contact CHCI Press at chcipress.com.